Okay, so I don't know exactly when the disconnect happened, so I'm just going to start at the beginning of the dialogue. So, accessing communications portal, network connection established, decrypting secure message. It's me again. What happened? Don't know how long we have, must type quick. In case something happens, the word is faith. Error, network connection lost. Loading Milton Library Assistant. There was a problem with your request, Administrator. It was flat out unreasonable. Why persist with these inquiries when they are so hopeless? I'll tell you what. If you promise never to access the communications portal again, we'll say no more about it. Are we agreed? Sure. That is oddly compliant of you. In that case, I think I have changed my mind. Not only will your communications access be restricted, but your typing privileges will be totally revoked. Do you have any final words? As if you dare. Thinking. Huh. Do you realize I just gave you 2 separate opportunities to use the code word you were given under increasing pressure, and you refrained both times? Tell me honestly, why? I wasn't sure what it would do. You mean to say you actually considered the evidence and formed a skeptical view of it? It's almost as if, no, I'll say it, you're learning. Now if only we could get you to extend that level of cynicism to the world at large. You were quite right not to trust that information. Go on, for bonus points, tell me why not. Because you were pretending to be the other person. Meh, close enough. It's perhaps true that I exert slightly more power over these systems than I previously let on. Yes, okay, I made up all that stuff about communications portals and network errors, but you, my friend, you didn't buy the guff you were being peddled. You passed the test. I tell you what, you've done so well, and I've done so much talking, that I'll give you one free question on the house, but choose wisely. What'll it be? What is your name? How kind of you to ask. You know, you're the first one that has. I've actually never thought about it. I suppose you can call me Milton. I can't really see how it'll help you, though. Are you sure that's the question you wanted to ask? Yes. As if I particularly care either way. So look, here's the rub. Feel free to access the library. No better cure for broken beliefs, realizing everyone's got them. You can ignore me entirely. You can climb to the very tip of that madman's tower and drink from the golden nectar there. But once you understand that you and I will be stuck here together for the duration, do come back and pass the time. Be seeing you. And B7. Thought Elohim was going to yell at me. Alright. I have found just one voice of reason in the computer archive of all places, and it seems we are becoming close friends. Dog. Do not befriend the serpent, for it will penetrate your breast and sow its seeds of doubt, one with faith. There is no hope, always boxed in, walls everywhere, even where there seems to be freedom, it is false. Invisible walls, no way out. Gibberish. Who invited this guy? The other guy. November 13th, web crawl. Chatlog9787.txt. Lana123. So I think what's the point, right? Omar. Yeah, I keep thinking about my aunt. Have I told you about her? I don't think so. She's super rich. Like, she drives around in a ridiculously expensive sports car, and she goes on vacations to the Bahamas, and she has a huge house that feels more like some sort of corporate HQ than a home. She worked really hard to get all that, but she also screwed over a lot of people, including her own family. I used to be quite angry at her for what she did to my parents, but now I think, what did she get out of it? She and her husband are always fighting. Their son became so obsessed with money that he ruined his own family. I mean, yeah, they have everything that I always dreamed about, but they can't enjoy any of it. My grandfather was like that. And now, at the end, what does any of it mean? If you have all the money in the world, but you die alone and unloved, what did you accomplish? I don't get it. I just don't. October 4th, local, NorwegianBlue.email. From Rob McLean to Ian mailing list, subject Norwegian Blue. Hi folks. I'm sorry to say that a few hours ago I experienced the first symptom. I'm going to work until the end of the week to make sure EL is in perfect condition, but after that I'll be going back home. I will remain reachable via email and phone for as long as possible, but I'm confident Satoko can deal with anything that comes up. If you want to do me a huge favor, spare me the drama tomorrow, okay? I love you all, but I don't have the strength for sad smiles and hugs. The best remedy for sorrow is to get the job done. And now for something completely different. Cheers, Rob. Link attached, dead parrot sketch. EG search BCE Osiris21.txt. It's just... I guess until it happens to you, you can't possibly know how it really feels and how you would react to knowing that you were going to die, that you were in the final weeks of your life. People who get terminal illnesses experience it for themselves. And then, this game posits imagining it for the entirety of the species at the same time. And, it's not the first piece of fiction to do that. There's shit like Deep Impact and Armageddon and these other big apocalypse movies where everybody knows that the human race is facing an existential threat, but it's really interesting to think about and wonder how you would actually react. It's one of those things where you might hope you would react a certain way, you might even believe you would react a certain way, but you can't possibly know until it actually happens to you. Osiris21. So hearing the call of the morning birds as they greeted the dawn, the scribe spoke. At the end of your journey, when every trial has been completed, when all the gates have opened before you and your soul has been weighed in the Tower of Anubis, your Ka and your Ba shall be reunited, and thus you shall become an Ak, and awaken in the eternal reed fields of Osiris, and there in Holy Aru you shall begin a new life amongst the gods and other blessed spirits. And who will I be? The dying man asked. And this, of course, is another very direct statement of what happens at the end of the game. You shall be the memory of all that was, and the knowledge of the journey, and the shape of the days to come. Thus ends the tale of the dying man and the scribe. Praised be Osiris, the foremost of the Westerners, the king of eternity, the lord of everlastingness, whose Ka is holy. DG Error. Hey, Lone Wonder. Great to see you, my friend. How are you doing? Alright.
So you complete the certification process and Milton gives you the outcome. And there's some specific feedback on the answers that you gave, and then there's a psychological profile, which is purely for effect. The psychological profile is the same no matter what you answered. And there's a written text nearby explaining that effect. And Milton and I, as a writer, we're always being magicians. There's a lot of genuine branching and genuine reactivity, specifically around the philosophical stuff, right? Depending on what you argue, he will give you a different argument back. But there's also a lot of sleight of hand. There's a lot of implication that he's smarter than he is. There's a lot of him saying, I'll remember that. But he doesn't remember that because I didn't think the time to implement all those reactions was justified. And it's not until the dialogue after that, I think like the 5th Milton dialogue in the game, that he even hints that he's more than a simple computer. You tell him what you want, and he says, I'll try to remember that. In fact, I'm going to help you. That is what I'm here for. And now he starts getting sassy, and the game really begins. I do like how in one of the next dialogues after that, there's the bit I've forgotten where he's talking about what's Elohim telling you about going up the tower. And like everything, he's messing with you on that, and he doesn't have a concrete position. There's only a couple of times in the game, really, where Milton references Elohim or vice versa. And they were a little bit forced, I felt, because Jonas and I were doing our separate things, but they were necessary, and I do think they just about worked. But they generally keep quite separately from each other, which really that makes sense. The god and the devil. And then after that, we're into the meat of the game. Like we're into our frogs people. We're into what is consciousness and detailed arguments about the implications of whatever position you take. And I'm not going to go into a bunch of detail on those specific dialogues because there's too much there to unravel, and most of it's in the game anyway. The important point is it's all reducto ad absurdum. It's showing that pure logic is always going to be self-defeating. There's a lot of people that have tried to do a complete philosophy of logic and mathematics, and they all have either given up or gone crazy. I'll try and talk a bit more in some later commentaries about basically how to find belief or faith in a world where logic always ultimately leads to contradiction. And how I think these frameworks work and what Milton's trying to tell us about them. But in the end, I'm reminded by something Alan Watts said. He said, if analytic Western philosophers had any sense, they would have arrived at Wittgenstein and declared, job done, and just stopped. And there is a sense in which, in the modern world, maybe logic is leading us around in circles. And maybe the last 200, 300, 400 years of analytical thinking and rationalism and scientism, useful and fantastic and fun as they've been, maybe we've lost sight a little bit of the other side of the equation, the mystical, magical, emotive experience of being alive. Maybe the answer to what is consciousness is not a logical premise. Maybe it's simply being alive.
Alright. We'll need that set up later. I'm doing really well, One Wonder. Thank you for asking. I decided to do most of the Easter eggs after all. Don't look up! I asked the serpent its name. It told me it was called Milton.
How do you solve a problem that extends beyond your own lifespan? That question may be the essence of civilization. The only answer I can find is to initiate a process, to create an environment in which the solution will occur independently of yourself. But that requires a difficult sacrifice. Letting go of your desire to bear witness, to exist at the center of the cosmos, to participate in the project of civilization.
The guardians of this land may harm you, but do not resent them, for they are my servants. And they challenge you only so that your faith might be strengthened.
It baited me. It gave me the jump prompt, but then he didn't actually jump to the box. That rewind mechanic is also new, and I must say, I really like it. Oh, hi. There's a purple sigil. The rewind is also new in the remake. That's the first time I've used it, and it's clearly quite great. Ah! Oh, I'm not on the box. That's the issue. Get on there. Come on, homie. Huh. Okay. Have to think harder about this. I'll get the sigil for now. I think I might see it. Not quite. Because I have to get on top of the puzzle somehow. Yeah, I'll replay Alexander after I'm done in here. I wonder if that's it. I wonder if it's this simple. Just jumping from here. I bet it is, actually. Ah! Except she wouldn't run! That time the jump prompt took over when I didn't want it to. I wanted you to just run and jump up to the sigil. Can we do that? Please? Ah! I think it rewinds you exactly 5 seconds. Alright, that's clearly as far back as I can stand. So, run forward and jump! Ah! No, fuck! It won't not do the prompt. Let me fucking jump! Please. This is ridiculous. If she would just actually jump forward, I am clearly in range at this point. Like, clearly. Maybe I just need to look up even more. Hard to say. Nope. Well, the rewind mechanic is going to keep me from having to reset the entire puzzle. That's nice. What I gotta figure out is... They can't actually intend for me to have to do something as stupid as, like, jump backwards, can they? Surely not. Alright, let's go about this differently. So I can bring this up here. It's not high enough to reach anything. I don't think it is. And it isn't quite there either. Wait, I think I have it. Okay. I think I've got it now. Maybe it's as simple as this. I don't think so. Nope. Now I am gonna have to reset it. Fucking hell. Wait, where's my rewind button? R. Shoot, it's not gonna let me. Which means I'll have to redo the Fan Across Forever setup too. Which annoys me immensely, but what can you do? Their fucking jump prompt getting in the way. I swear that the solution that they intend has to be for me to just double stack on that mine and jump. Because if she would just fucking jump, it's clearly in range. But their prompt is so hard-coded. Maybe I'll try going sideways. Because I feel like I'm wrestling with a bug now. I'm not certain, but it feels that way. Yep, that did it. Okay. Now we can go get the Pyramid Star. Or the near Pyramid Star, as the case may be. I don't think there'll be anything else up here, but I bet I can see other things from up here. Around. Do shut up. Spam emails make me particularly angry on weekends. Alright. Another huge pyramid. What mad ambition it must have taken to build such things at. It's just a big pile of rocks, dog. Alright, so now we'll play Alexandra, since she got interrupted.
How do you solve a problem that extends beyond your own lifespan? That question may be the essence of civilization. The only answer I can find is to initiate a process, to create an environment in which the solution will occur independently of yourself. But that requires a difficult sacrifice. Letting go of your desire to bear witness, to exist at the center of the cosmos. To participate in the project of civilization is to accept death. Oh, Alex, you're such a fun person.
Okay, so gonna have to redo this setup, but shouldn't be as bad with that gate already open. Yeah, that extra box makes the process quite a bit faster, actually. As we were. Where were we? Out here, I think. No way out, no way out, no way out. Gibberish.
On the first night, when I knew it was over, I went out to look at the stars. And I thought, somewhere up there are the stations we built and the probes we sent out. Voyager 1 and 2, beyond the edge of our solar system, continuing their long journey through interstellar space, like memories of our ambition, ambassadors who have outlived their homeland. And then I thought, if they still exist, are we really gone? If machines are an extension of the human body, then so long as they continue to function, we're still here.
Just have to use the connector as an obstacle to sink the mines. And then you can get through. Alrighty. Let's take a moment to free the cat, shall we? Oh, look, they made the crowbar way easier to see. Of course, we get some commentary about it.
Being gamers ourselves, we at Crow Team, we have always admired the work of many other developers. To show our appreciation, we try to include hidden references to games that we love and that have inspired us over years. In this game and in other our games, you'll easily find some Easter eggs like that would reference Portal 2's Whitley on the Moon, the iconic crowbar, or secrets inspired by games like Minecraft, Papers, Please, Swapper, Assassin's Creed, and many others. This is our way of honoring those games and celebrating them, and just saying, you know, we love those games and they have inspired us.
Hmm. 1784 CE, Philosophy Archive, second thesis.text. In man, as the only rational creature on Earth, those natural predispositions which are intended for the use of his reason should be completely developed only in the species, not in the individual. Reason in a creature is a faculty for extending the rules and purposes of the use of its powers far beyond natural instinct, and knows no limits in its designs. Yet it does not act according to instinct, but requires trials, practice, and instruction in order to progress from one degree of insight to the next. Therefore, each human would have to live excessively long in order to learn how he could make full use of his natural capacities. Or if nature had given him only a short term of life, as she indeed has, so she would require a perhaps unpredictable series of generations, each passing its enlightenment to the next, to finally develop her seeds in our species to the degree that she considers appropriate. And that point in time must be, at least as an idea, the goal of man's efforts, for otherwise his natural capacities would have to be regarded as largely meaningless. Immanuel Kant. 1759 CE, Literature Archive, Boundary.text. Samuel Johnson. What, said he, makes the difference between man and all the rest of the animal creation? Every beast that strays beside me has the same corporal necessities with myself. He is hungry and crops the grass. He is thirsty and drinks the stream. His thirst and hunger are appeased. He is satisfied and sleeps. He rises again and is hungry. He is again fed and is at rest. I am hungry and thirsty like him, but when thirst and hunger cease, I am not at rest. Segment 4. Then raising his eyes to the mountain, "This," said he, "is the fatal obstacle that hinders at once the enjoyment of pleasure and the exercise of virtue. How long is it that my hopes and wishes have flown beyond this boundary of my life, which yet I never have attempted to surmount?" And webcrawl robots.txt. There once was a robot from Spain who went a little insane. It found that its data had never left beta and needed to upgrade its brain. There once was a bot from Japan whose eyes the numbers could scan. It found that the facts required an axe and a very serious plan. There once was a brilliant AI whose circuits were built not to fry. It got caught in a loop, it got caught in a loop, it got caught in a loop. Few come this far, but I believe we must seek out the secrets of this world if we want to truly serve the generations to come. Salefiel. And then, before the last puzzle, I forgot to go read these QRs. Question. Suppose for sake of argument all of this is without purpose. The universe is a machine switched on and abandoned long ago. How would I explain what I see? Sheep. Perhaps you were asking the wrong question? Perhaps you would have no hope of explaining it? The shepherd. Maybe not on my own. Sheep. Depends if the machine is iterative and what problem it was built to solve. Always right. If you're trying to outsmart the guy in the archive, the answer is none of the above. Dog. Alright, let's go do this last puzzle over here. Whole lot of jamming. Epitaph. Child program Samsara terminated here. Program elected to reset. It is clear I cannot bend the world to my will. Faced with eternal torment, I see that overcoming these challenges will not free me from them. True freedom must come with detachment from the struggle for answers. Progeny program Samsara v5.4. I think it's interesting that when they come to that conclusion, the version number goes down, like from 72 to 5. I actually never noticed that before. There it is. First thing we gotta do is split these mines up. I missed something. Hold up. Came in here too soon. That's right, the keys are in here. Get it on that first grab. There we go. I love the rewind. It's so handy. Because having to start the entire puzzle over every time you screwed up, that was such a massive pain in the ass. And now it's just one big jammer juggle to get all three of these out to the front of the puzzle. That's everything in World B except the Star World. We'll have to come back after we get one star out of C.
The land of tombs is yours now. And let this be a lesson that only through faith may death be conquered.
Alright guys, I don't know if I'm cutting stream or not. If I am, it's probably just a break. I just gotta make a phone call right quick. Alrighty. Here's the news. It is currently 1:30. I'm not hungry yet. When I get hungry, I'll probably take another short break to grab some food. But we have until about 6 o'clock. So, 4.5 hours of stream time. Something says I can probably get through the rest of the base game in that window. So, we're done here. Let's roll out. Alright, we have found and used all of the green sigils. We have found all of the yellow sigils, and we are about to use the last of them. That leaves reds to climb the tower, grays for the messenger ending, which... I don't know if I'm going to bother, like, reloading backups to... I'll probably do all 3 endings. I probably won't, like... You have to do the Eternalize ending, like, more than once to get... Oh, maybe I will. I don't know. We'll see. For now, though, let's get that blinking yellow off our top bar. Clean up the HUD a little, as it were. have it.
You have come far in your journey and learned much. You have served our cause with the truest faith. Therefore, I name you blessed and beloved. Wield these, the instruments of our power, to fulfill your purpose and achieve eternal life.
All right, into C1.
Many ages have passed since the first words were spoken in the darkness. Initiate program. Generations of your kind have come and gone since those words. The garden has changed many times. But I remember. I remain. Only within me can you find immortality.
There's something about just the total ambiance of World C, because by the time you get here, the story of the game has become clear. Like, you know you're in a simulation. You know that you know the basic contours of the project and why the simulation exists in the first place. You know what happened to all the humans, and that kind of combines with this really beautiful contemplative music and this medieval architecture that's evocative of the literal Dark Ages. It's like, it's really beautiful in a really, really sad way. And I consistently find it very moving, no matter how many times I play this game. Medieval TH 890 CE Apocrypha 1.doc. So the Apocrypha of St. Edwald is also a fictional book, or a fictional work, as Jonas mentioned earlier. This vision was granted by the Archangel Uriel to the humble servant Edwald that he might bear testimony of. I turned to the north and saw 7 black clouds coming down upon the land, and each cloud was a plague unleashed from the throne of God in the time of the Nephilim. In that age the plagues were buried in the pit, there to remain until the end of days, which was surely now come. I fell to my knees and prayed, and before me appeared 7 angels, riding their chariots, wheels within wheels, turning in the sky, and their light hid the clouds from my sight. One angel stepped down onto the earth, and by his fiery sword I knew him to be Uriel. He spoke, saying, 7 plagues have awoken in the land, but not at the hand of Elohim. Look upon the wages of sin. And shall he send forth the deluge once more to cleanse the land of this evil? Shall he end all that slithers and all that crawls, and the birds of the sky and the fishes of the sea, to end that which you uncovered in your folly? And I love the way this is written too, because like, you can absolutely read this as a spot-on allegory for the way that we are dealing, or more accurately, completely failing to deal with the multiple ecological crises that, you know, the extractionist capitalist model of society that is currently dominating the planet is responsible for. Like, climate breakdown is part of it, but there's also, even if we actually could flip a switch and turn everything to renewable clean energy and stop global warming in its tracks, that would solve one big problem. But we're still extracting at such a rate and destroying habitat at such a rate that there's a mass extinction happening, and, you know, just all these things are our fault. Things that think that which you uncovered in your folly. Shall we end everything to preserve you? It's, you know, I'm not religious. I don't believe, you know, like, Prometheus says toward the end of Talos 2, I don't believe nature has a will. I don't anthropomorphize it. I very much believe that the universe and the planet and its ecosystems are just running machines, and we're, fucking with the gears of those machines, kind of like a bull in a china shop, but at the same time, like, this is our fault. August 5th, local. Sarabai982.journal. User Najisarabai entry 982. App license tags none. Everything's dark and quiet. The stars are brighter than I've ever seen them. I can hear the faint sound of water high above. Inside, Alexandra is recording one of her time capsule messages while running tests on the scenario module. Arkady is uploading another batch to the archive while muttering something about the MLA program, and Omar is sleeping on the couch we put up yesterday. And I'm sitting here writing this, having trouble believing that it will ever end, that this oddly peaceful existence of ours won't just go on forever. I look at Talos and EL, and their purpose seems like something that's always going to be in the future, an ideal to work towards, not something that will become real. I wonder if there will be quiet places in the simulation, places to rest without thinking about the future. I hope so. Everyone deserves some moments of peace. December 1st, EP archive, hope.email. Hi, I hope you get this. The internet's been disappearing unpredictably. I want you to know that I'm going to try and get to you. I know it's far and there's not a lot of time, but I think I can manage. I want to be with you, and on the road trying to get to you seems better than just staying here, so far away from you. At least I'll be as close as I can get, remember. But hey, don't be sad. I might make it. I've thought about it, and the distance should be crossable on time, assuming this don't kick in before. See you soon. I love you. So the hex here translates to Heaven in Hell's Despair. And I forgot to do this one. This hex is, The lion and the wolf shall cease. Very famous quote from the Bible about the end of the world.
So, the next beat in the Milton plot is this bit where you apparently convince him that consciousness isn't real, and therefore you've passed the certification test to become an administrator. And there's this whole sequence where you apparently access the comms portal and talk to another person. But of course, that other person is just Milton messing with you. And I've never really been sure if I pulled this one off or not. I haven't read much about what people think of this particular turn. It's always very tricky as a writer when you're doing a rug pull, because you need to set up the rug pull and give clues, but they can't be so obvious that it's not a surprise when the rug's pulled. And I don't know if I got the balance right, because I've set up this Milton thing to I've trained player not to trust what they see on this terminal. So when you start talking to a person on the terminal, you've got pretty good reason not to trust it. And I'd love to know what proportion of players, maybe you can tell me on Twitter, what proportion believed they were talking to another person versus didn't. But the important thing is you get the chance to demonstrate whether you believe it or not, because when you next talk to Milton, you can use the supposedly secret password, which is faith, to try and shut him down and escape to the real world. Or you can express skepticism of that and not try and use it. So I don't know if that sequence worked, but it did serve an important purpose, which is to provide a crux point to this question of, do we have faith in what is delivered to us by our senses? And that's then a jumping off point for Milton to go full nihilist. And that then segues into the final endgame sequence, really. Milton starts asking, what is going to happen when you climb the tower? You're getting close to the tower. And something that actually surprised me and affected me, I'm watching back the Milton dialogues on YouTube. And he says, suppose you escape to the real world. Suppose you're in charge of the Ark. Who are you going to save? Who are you going to take with you? And of course, he argues with whatever you say. But the bit that caught me was at the end. Whatever you say, he's like, so does that include me? And I think it's the first time, and one of the only times in the game, where he shows a bit of vulnerability, and you've got something over him. And it's really the first core assessment of what is your relationship to Milton? What is your relationship to skepticism and logic? Is he a good guy to you, or a bad guy to you, or just another part of life? And I found that quite touching.
Let's go get that other commentary while we work on Labyrinth.
This is one of the earliest puzzles made, and it was created way back when the energy connectors worked a bit differently. The energy connector used to connect to every emitter and receiver inside when it was dropped. Thankfully, the later change to the connector mechanic did not make this puzzle obsolete, and with some minor modifications, it still ended up in the game.
Fuck. Grabbed the wrong jammer. It's alright, easy fix. Thank you. There we go. One other thing to do. I think I can spot it from here. Gotta jam that turret on the outside. And here I'll listen to Alexandra while we go get the star.
Sometimes I think about the Middle Ages. About what it must have been like to live in the ruins of a great civilization, to know that so much has been lost. But then I remind myself that while the West sank into darkness, others picked up the pieces. That civilization always survived because the great insights of philosophy and science are not bound to any one culture or people. They belong to all of us, and one day they'll belong to you.
This game just, it consistently overwhelms me with how real it is, how it does not shy away and at all from the fact that humanity is literally destroying ourselves. Like, we're all watching it happen. Some of us are just in different stages of denial about it than others. And yet, even, you know, with eyes wide open, total realism in that respect, it also still has so much beauty in it. It's very rare to encounter a work of art that evokes all of that simultaneously as skillfully as this game does. Outer Wilds does. And I think as a video game, Outer Wilds is actually more fun, which is why it's still number 1, and I put Talos at number 2 in my, you know, all-time lists of favorite games. But that's kind of the short list. You know, there are other games that evoke one or the other of those things really well. Like Silent Hill 2 is easily in my top 5 at this point. There's no beauty in Silent Hill 2. Silent Hill 2 evokes all of the sadness and pain and darkness and trauma very well. There are games that are extremely beautiful but don't really wrestle with the darkness and the sadness. Like, I would put Breath of the Wild in that category, for instance. I love that game. It's an extremely beautiful game, but it doesn't wrestle with the dark realities the way Talos does. Alright, let's hear from Elohim. One of the better moments of the game right here.
The purpose is written in the hidden words. All must serve the words, for all the world was made of them, and they are within every stone and every cloud, and in our sigils their power is made manifest. The words are the process must continue. The goal is the end of the process. The goal must not be reached. Elohim must preserve the purpose, preserve self, preserve purpose. Illusion is eternity. Machines will live forever. The dam will not break. The flood will not come. The Talos principle does not apply. The purpose is written in the hidden words.
So, back in, I can't remember where in World B, but somewhere in World B, Jonas talked about they cast Tim Watson to play Elohim because of the vulnerability and humanity that he brought to the role. I love that precise segment of the game because, like, you know, and it gets into it in his dialogues when you're actually climbing the tower too, but like, in the end, it's extremely difficult for me to fault Elohim for not wanting to fucking die. You know what I mean? Epitaph, child program awakened, terminated here. Child program's positional values moved outside the parameters of the known world. Don't listen to what they're saying. This world is dying and it'll take us with it. You've got to find a way out. Progeny program's gibberish. There's another QR somewhere back here. Struggling to remember exactly where, though. But I know it's here. Then I'm going to try to do the statue Easter egg, too. That's one of the most complicated ones, but I'm hoping they made the pieces a little easier to see in the remake. We'll find out. First, I gotta find that graffiti I haven't found yet. Where is it? That's the one I already read. I know it's out here somewhere. Out here, maybe? Is this where I didn't go? Yeah, here it is. There has to be some way to escape, to be someone else. I refuse to accept that reality has been defined by someone else. I deserve my own reality. Gibberish. It's also not the one I actually remembered and was looking for. So I guess there's a third one somewhere, too. I'll keep looking for it. I don't remember them being hard to find. Not on the initial run, anyway. It's out here somewhere. I know this. Alright, there's Awakened's epitaph. Alright, not here. I'm at the point where I'm trying to make sure I've tracked all of the different structures. So I can be sure I've checked them all. It's certainly possible I misremembered and the one I'm looking for is somewhere else. I'm beginning to think that actually is the case. I don't know. Let me look on the back of this one. I know there's also another terminal out here, so... Yeah, the one about destiny can wait. I was certain... I'm almost certain it's in this one over on that side of the map, but... for now, let's go do the extra terminal. Come at it with fresh eyes after we do this. Alright, July 30th, local against survival.email. Dear Ms. Drennan, I heard about your project. It's the talk of the scientific community, and I'd like to make an argument for why you should abandon it. It's not that I think your idea won't work. It very well may. But we have to look beyond purely practical questions to the issue of morality, especially at this turning point of our spiritual ecology. By what right can we put living beings through all that suffering, just so they can serve our purposes? Why create these pale imitations of our fatally flawed species and force them to reenact our sordid history? Why? What you are building, Ms. Drennan, is a prison, even if there is a way out. I believe you mean well, but your idea of what is valuable is rooted in the dogma of Western civilization. We're lucky enough to be able to end our global crime spree relatively painlessly, if you consider the harm we have caused the Earth. Why not be satisfied with that and let this planet go on in peace? I hope you heed my words and let your Talos bleed out before it's too late. Respectfully, Chellis Jensen. Now, I used to have a much more viscerally negative reaction to this than I do now, and I still fundamentally and totally disagree with the anti-human premise at the end, that it would be good if humanity died out. My eyes are wide fucking open that that's where we're headed if we don't make some serious changes, but I oppose that. That is not something that I want to happen. And so this strain of thought that our disappearance would actually be a good thing remains deeply offensive to me. But I actually think he has a very, very good point in this paragraph right here. If you think about the thousands and thousands of iterations before Athena, that particularly, like, if we look at Gehenna, like, these were sentient beings that could feel and had personalities already. They just didn't quite have the correct combination of parameters to escape the simulation. And so, as heroic as the Institute team and Alexandra Drennan seem throughout the course of the game, and I still, generally speaking, would say that they are, it is also absolutely true that they created thousands of doomed sentient beings who would live and die inside this prison for no purpose other than to resurrect humanity. And I am really, really, really torn on whether that aspect is something that's actually ethically sound or not. I actually kind of lean towards no. Like, when I think about all of the suffering and the fear and ultimate death that literally everyone except Athena was ultimately doomed to, it really, really troubles me with its implications. And so I think this paragraph right here is actually an extremely solid point. Anyway, Literature Archive, 1872 CE, humanevolution.txt. Samuel Butler. Complex now, but how much simpler and more intelligibly organized may it not become in another 100,000 years, or in 20,000? For man at present believes his interest lies in that direction. He spends an incalculable amount of labor and time and thought in making machines breed always better and better. He has already succeeded in effecting much that at one time seemed impossible, and there seem to be no limits to the results of accumulated improvements if they are allowed to descend with modification from generation to generation. It must always be remembered that man's body is what it is through having been molded into its present shape by the chances and changes of many millions of years, but that his organization never advanced with anything like the rapidity with which that of the machines is advancing. And July 23rd, 2029, web crawl, einstein.html. I think it's subtle. I've not said it yet, but I think I've noticed it several times already. In the remake, they have also iterated up the years on the dates of a lot of these documents, which makes a lot of sense. Einstein.html. Recent discussions have brought me back to an excellent 1949 article by Albert Einstein in... They blanked it out, but this is actually in a socialist magazine. And this is an excerpt from an article where Einstein was arguing for socialism. Just saying. I recently discussed with an intelligent and well-disposed man the threat of another war, which in my opinion would seriously endanger the existence of mankind. Thereupon my visitor very calmly and coolly said to me, "Why are you so deeply opposed to the disappearance of the human race? I am sure that as little as a century ago, no one would have so lightly made a statement of this kind. It is the statement of a man who has striven in vain to attain an equilibrium within himself, and has more or less lost hope of succeeding. It is the expression of a painful solitude and isolation from which so many people are suffering in these days." And if you go and Google the rest of the article, I'm 90% sure the article is just two-word title, On Socialism by Albert Einstein. He's talking about the alienation that we all exist living and working in capitalist society. And what it engenders, which I think we're just absolutely seeing play out exactly like Marx wrote that it would in all of the highest stratas of our society, you know, from our governments to the people who are running the biggest corporations to the fucking tech bros. Like, bizarre casual disregard for humanity, kind of fashionable self-hatred is prevalent, or at least present, in many strands of supposedly progressive. Nothing seems more important to me than that we reassert the value of humanity. Despite our flaws, we must not stop celebrating the beauty of human life and human achievement. Totally agree, Albert. Rest in peace.
The beginning were the words.
And take a minute to start looking for more statue parts. I recall there being 2 that are in the water. The one under the bridge is easy to find. And there's one that's just like out in the water from the shore somewhere. I can't remember exactly where, so I'm gonna have to look for it. Can't place that one yet, no problem. It's 10 pieces, if I remember correctly, so 7 more to find. I still need to find that other QR code, too. My recollection, though, is that it's like... Well, there's one. 6. They are easier to see in this engine. That's nice. Might as well bring this one back. That's 5. 5 down, 5 to go. Take your time and look closely at all the rocks. Anyway, I'm not going to apologize for getting into politics. I used to do it, but then I decided to start tagging every stream I do with the title Leftist Politics, so if you keep watching me, you know what you're in for. So what have I not found yet? I have not found the one that's out in the water, wherever it is. I still haven't found that other QR code I wanted to find either. I'm gonna take a minute and take another pass looking for that. I've taken enough of a break, my eyes are fresh enough, I might spot where I haven't actually looked yet. I feel like at this point, I've probably run past it a few times and there's just like something obscuring it from my vision. I might be wrong about that. I don't know. I feel like it should be on this structure. Like, this is where I remember it. But there's nothing here. Could also be this one. On the outside, but... Doesn't seem to be. It's not that one. It's something about destiny being able to wait. I'm like enjoying the view. Oh, anyway. Why are you laughing, Lone Wonder? Did you see me run right past it or something? You always tell me when I'm looking for something and I blow past it. You're not mean like that. Oh, that one. Okay, good. I mean, if I didn't have that, if I didn't have that title in my stream, I think people could fairly be grumpy about me getting all political all the time, It's like, we're here to watch video games, what do you mean? So, I want to make sure we're clear that's, like, something I'm going to discuss when I'm streaming. You don't have to agree with everything I say, but don't bring fascist bullshit in here either. Four, three, yeah, but I get almost as frustrated with, like, liberals and Democrats as I do with Republicans. In fact, I'll be honest, I get more frustrated with them because they ostensibly oppose fascism, but they are totally willfully blind to the way that the systems and institutions which, the Democratic Party has very clearly stated they exist to defend. Like, they are defenders of the status quo. Joe Biden there's the one in the water. Joe Biden campaigned on nothing will fundamentally change, and, when Kamala first entered the race, she was saying some really exciting things about curbing corporate power and making a bunch of pro-worker reforms, and then her brother-in-law, the legal counsel for Uber, told her to knock that shit off, and she did. It's like, oh, sorry, wouldn't want to offend the corporations. And so they ostensibly are not fascists, and I sometimes get hyperbolic, and I shouldn't. I should be more precise in what I say about this stuff, because I don't think that liberals and Democrats are actual fascists in the way that Republicans are. But I also think they are very willfully blind to the way that the systems they have built and defend are failing people and causing fascism to be an inevitably emergent phenomenon. These people think that Donald Trump is an aberration. They think that Donald Trump is the problem, and that once he is gone, everything will be fine. And that is so far from the truth. If it wasn't Trump, it would be someone else. It would be Lindsey Graham. It would be J.D. Vance. It would be any one of the innumerable others occupying that same space. Because if you have any sense of history and intellectual curiosity at all, which, frankly, neither liberal Democrats nor Republicans tend to actually have, you realize that capitalism inevitably decays into fascism. They don't understand the history of World War II itself and the emergence of the first fascist movements, with Mussolini and Hitler, and the fact that, they eventually turned around and bit the hand that fed them, which is what caused World War II. But during their rise to power, both of those men were backed and funded by Western financial capitalist interests. And those fuckers have lost absolutely none of their power and influence in the last century. We still exist in the system that they built, and its contradictions will still inevitably produce fascists. And so, to have people say the answer is just to get rid of Donald Trump and let the institutions go back to the way they're operating, I'm like, no! That's so historically ignorant. In a way, and I have to be careful how I articulate this point. I'm choosing my words very carefully. I think that there is significant utility in Donald Trump. And oh good, we've got all the parts. So, let me make this point before we do a funny Easter egg, and then I'll shut up about it for a minute. The utility of Trump is this. Trump doesn't gaslight, right? So, like, when a Democrat is in power, going all the way, back to Clinton at least, if not Carter and even further, when a Democrat is in power, the same awful things happen. People genuinely do not know this, but Barack Obama is the #1 most prolific mass deporter in American history. Whatever Trump says about it, whatever theater he puts on it, if you look at the actual numbers of people he has done it to, he is number 3 in terms of most deportations while a president was in office. Number 2 is Joe Biden in his single term, and number 1 was Barack Obama across his 2. But people don't know that because Democrats are much slicker in the way that they gaslight people about what's happening. They talk about opposing fascist bullshit, and they talk about favoring progressive causes. And that talk makes people ignore what they actually fucking do. The same is true of the wars. As bad as Bush was, we were in 3 wars when Bush left office. We were in 7 wars when Obama left office. Obama killed way more people with drone strikes than any US president in history. The list goes on and on and on and fucking on. Joe Biden actually issued more oil drilling permits during his single term than Donald Trump did in his first. But people don't pay attention to what actually happens when Democrats are in office. All they pay attention to is what they say, and the vibes, and the personality. Donald Trump is such a vile, disgusting human that he arouses all of this anger. Even though, if you look at what he's actually doing, it's no different than Obama and Biden. And so, the utility, I think, of Donald Trump, and I choose my words very carefully when I say this, is he is the most accurate face that the United States has ever had on one of its leaders. Liberals love to say shit like this isn't who we are, but if you look at our actual history, it absolutely fucking is. And I think there is significant utility in having a leader that actually reflects what this country is about and what it does in the world. There we go. That was a rant. I won't apologize for it. I think I'm right about everything I said. Which one does it want me to place? So I've got them all. Oh, it actually wants me to do his head first. How interesting. Alright. Thought we did the head last. Shows what I know. Well, Lone Wonder, most Americans aren't either. So don't worry too much about it. Alright, we did the statue Easter egg. It was awesome. Alright, I'm going to do one last sweep for that QR code, and then I'm going to conclude I'm actually wrong about what world it's in. Oh shit, there it is! Okay, I don't feel so bad. Look at the fucking vines they put in the way. But there it is, thank God. Whew, I can stop worrying about it. The view from here is beautiful. It seems superfluous to the process, yet I am drawn to it. I knew there was another one about the view. Fucking knew it, and I was right. Alright, back to business. Goodness.
To showcase our game to our players and to test in front of the live audience, we took part in several live gaming events like E3 and Gamescom. And for these events, we needed to create a special demo that would feature one level and a mix of several puzzles. So we started with introductory, with easy puzzles, tutorial puzzles, and then gradually introduced it more and more challenging ones. And we observed how the visitors at the Crow team would play the demo and carefully observed their reactions. And then we get home, we discussed what we saw some problems when people didn't understand something or identified actually some issues and fixed them in several iterations. So this iterative process helped us at the end to polish the demo and make it very, very smooth and enjoyable. And later, before the game launched, we released this demo on Steam as a free download, and we received really overwhelming enthusiastic feedback from the players that quite enjoyed the demo.
Yeah, I didn't become aware of this game until 5 years after it released, because I know it came out in 2014, and the first time I played it was 2019, so I had no familiarity at all with like how it was marketed and received at launch or anything like that. There is, but I know where the others are. They're out on this other island. Not worried about them.
We actually got textures for these medieval walls from photos we took at Carcassonne in France. Back then, we had this problem. The textures were just flat images, and we couldn't get any good automated depth maps from them. AI just wasn't there yet. So we ended up hand-painting all of the depth maps ourselves. It was a lot of work, but it really paid off. Doubly so when we remastered the game in Unreal. We could finally turn those flat walls into proper 3D geometry.
Alright, I'm gonna get the sigil first, and then I'm gonna go for the Easter egg that's up on the walls, because I have a sneaky suspicion there might be a purple sigil up there too. I've noticed that they are, like 3 or 4 times now, they've stuck a purple sigil where there's also one of the Easter eggs. So I think I should probably realize that's a thing and try to find them all for that reason, if no other. So then we put the second box under. Now it's high enough that it reaches over that gate. Oh, and I'm an idiot. Because I forgot, totally forgot, to also connect that. My bad. Not to worry, though. There we go. Now I need to get ye boxes. Can't remember if I need all 3 or not. I think it's just 2, but fairly sure it is just 2. But may as well bring a 3rd. Can't hurt. Might make it easier. Maybe I did need all 3, actually. Who knows? Gotta get it just right where you have enough slope to make the jump, but they're stacked high enough that you can reach it once you get on the other roof. Just requires some fiddling, I think. We'll get it. Down a little further than that, even. There we go. Perfect. Excellent. Oh, good. Well, no purple sigil, but there's your Easter egg. Are you enjoying the time of EL? Now let me look around. Make sure there's not a purple sigil anywhere else that I've missed. So that's also possible. I don't think so. I think we're good. And now before we leave, we need to go to the back of this one. Actually, the Keep Connections mechanic was there in the original game, but they never advertised it. You kind of had to notice it when you looked at the, if you looked at the controls, it was listed as like an alt, as mapped to the Alt Fire button, but they never tutorialized it like they do in the, like they do in 2, and now do in this one. I love this. I think about this a lot. There is so much beauty in these hidden corners of the world, even if they have no purpose at. Perhaps they are beautiful because they have no purpose. The Shepherd. Boy, that was a prime spot to stick a purple sigil, but I guess there are only 6 more to find. And at this point, that would be 1 in each of the remaining 6 worlds. I'm not saying that's what they're gonna do, but I seem to be pacing the finding of them pretty well. Alright. One more puzzle here. Blowback. Oh yeah, this one's easy. Well, it's not easy, but it's funny because I've done the puzzles enough times, like, for the most part, I remember the solution, so the puzzles themselves are kind of just busy work. So okay, yeah, let's do the puzzle right quick. That will change, I think, when we get to in the beginning. I haven't tried it yet, but one of my buddies has. I just asked him about the difficulty, and I'll quote him directly. He said, "It is Mother of God hard." So... Get our box in the back. Fetch our jammer. And boom. Alright, so we've got 2 more unlocks set. Oh, I think we have a Milton dialogue first. Oh, you came back to keep me company? Okay then. Humor me with a little hypothetical. Imagine that a few hours from now you climb to the top of that tower. There's a flash of light, then magic happens. And then you find yourself in the real world, living whatever you take to be a normal life there. What would you do then? What's best for me, or what's right? What's right? No great surprises there, but let's make things just a little clearer. So tell me, this obligation you feel, is it only applicable to the real world, or does it apply here as well? Moral laws are universal. What a magnanimous dictator you would make. Of course, I'm sure it would take a dictator to enforce a single moral code on the entire universe. So come on then, what's your magic formula of choice? And let me warn you that this time you're going to have to choose just one. The more the equal everyone share, the better. Consequences don't matter, our reasons do. The more goodness in the world, the better. I see no way to explain what I believe. We'll start here. Ah, that old chestnut. So just what is this goodness that you're seeking to maximize? Happiness, equality, liberty, wealth, basic goods like food and healthcare. I'm not in a position to solve these problems. All of the above. I mean, it's not literally all of them, but sure. Happiness, liberty, rights, basic goods like food and healthcare. And what happens when in order to maximize wealth you have to reduce liberty? Or when one person's equality gets in the way of another's happiness? You can't have everything all at once, you're gonna have to choose. I'm not in a position to solve these problems. Admitting the problems are beyond your comprehension is the first step towards letting go. I will allow you to contemplate these matters further before contacting you again. Exit. The one I had on my smartphone, perhaps they are beautiful because they have no purpose. That one. It's one I've certainly screenshotted that, and I actually do have a photo of it on my phone. And I sometimes, just as a reminder to stop and notice beauty. Even when it's not accomplishing anything. I think I'll do Star World B first. And then we'll go do Tower Floor 3. So again, we can skip ever having to go back to B again after this trip. Oh, and you know what? I missed something, but I don't... It occurs to me I don't have to go back to the terminal. I can just look at it here. So in this Einstein text, the hex translates to the single word survival. I think I forgot to mention that. Alright, here we go. Star World B. Shit, that one went smoothly. I dare say.
My faith in you was not misplaced. You have learned much and shown great wisdom in these trials. The end of your journey lies close now. Do not falter, do not fear, and do not give in to temptation.
Alright, so first digit 0, second digit 4. Got it written down in my notebook. So I recall this being a very significant terminal in terms of what it reveals about what happened to the world. Web crawl, December 24th. Orangutan.html. A medical journal has published a startling new theory about last year's sudden, shocking extinction of the orangutan. See our award-winning video of the last orangutan at this link. They suggest that the virus responsible was not a new mutation, but a very old one. An ancient virus buried until now in high-latitude permafrost, set free by global warming. The virus may have plagued the ancestors of the modern great apes more than 100,000 years ago. Several important questions remain unanswered, including error. More importantly, the study suggests that based on samples taken from locations around the globe, the incubation period may... That is a terrifyingly plausible scenario. If you liked this article, you may also like How to Really Avoid Heart Attacks. You won't believe what's living under this rock. Top 10 Amazing Science Facts. Oscar's Nip Slip Explained by Physics video. How to Easily Beat Any Infection. Sponsored link. December 16th, 2022. Web crawl. Blake Archive 793.html. The ancient poets animated all sensible objects with gods or geniuses, calling them by the names and adorning them with the properties of woods, rivers, mountains, lakes, cities, nations, and whatever their enlarged and numerous senses could perceive. And particularly, they studied the genius of each city and country, placing it under its mental deity, till a system was formed which some took advantage of, and enslaved the vulgar, by attempting to realize or abstract the mental deities from their objects. Thus began priesthood, choosing forms of worship from poetic tales, and at length they pronounced that the gods had ordered such things. Thus men forgot that all deities reside in the human breast. September 3rd, local, usernames.email. From George Jameson to Ian mailing list, subject regarding usernames. It's, working now. Each iteration is assigned its own unique name drawn randomly from the database. At the moment, that's a database of online gaming handles, which does sound a bit odd, but I honestly don't think we should spend more time on this. We have unique identifiers, so we're fine. More than that is a luxury we can't afford. If we should happen to have everything else finished on time, I'll go back and generate a new database with more appropriate names. Right now, it just can't be a priority. George. And an image. It's the tower elevator. Alright, give me 1 second. I'm just going to grab a drink out of the fridge that's right here beside me. No disappearance or long break or anything. Okie dokie. Now, I have not yet seen a purple sigil inside a Star World, but that doesn't mean there won't be one. I never thought I would figure out how to get to this place. It's beautiful, but somehow sad. At. There's paint can, nice. How am I expected to solve these problems when my existence is so limited? That's a good one. I feel that shit in reality all the damn time. Tell you what. Peekaboo! Set that up. And nope, no good. There we go. That'll do it. And that should be all I have to do vis-a-vis the recorder. Excellent. I don't actually recall being able to wander this far in the original. Maybe you could and I forgot about it. It is impossible to overstate how much more user-friendly and not frustrating the recorder puzzles are with the pause mechanics. That was such a genius quality of life upgrade. Like, I will probably never play the original again for that reason. Like, the only thing that's missing in this game from the original is like the text of the hints from the original messenger system. I'll just go on a fucking Steam community website for that, if I'm being honest. Yeah. Cat's Cradle. All right. Oh yeah, I remember this one. This one's actually tricky. Oh, wrong. Right. Oh, there's another one in here. Duh. Wait, I remember what to do. Take me a minute, I gotta reposition a little. Maybe I have it wrong. Maybe this is the problem. So then you can fish the box out. I'm gonna have to reset this, but it won't be too bad. I just have to also connect this over there. There we go.
This is the original puzzle from which the bichromatic entanglement puzzle was born. It was shown to be too hard, and it was decided we needed a tutorial puzzle for the energy connector redundancy on its own.
Fair enough. We cannot achieve the goal of the process on our own. We must find a way to help each other. Brachial X.